So this is going to be part 11 on the Tomos A3 trike conversion. Now I'm nearly finished. A closer look on how the rear subframe was made. It's all made out of 50mm by 6mm flat bar, which is from the pivot point to the actual centre of the rear axles. It's 40cm, 400mm, and the width is approximately 16.5cm. These axle tubes here are 35mm outside diameter thick wool. They need to be machined to take a 6201 bearing on this side, which has got a 12mm ID, and this side it just needs two sort of solid steel inserts welded in each end with a 12mm hole in the middle. The axles themselves are 250mm long M12 bolts, 8.8, which they have a calculated shear strength of 5.4 tons. So this application it's fine. I wouldn't go for any smaller diameter. Being mounted in a single shear. To convert the front Honda Melody wheel to take the 12mm axle, you need to use a 16001 bearing, which replaces the stock bearing that's got the 10mm ID, and then you need a pit bike brake caliper, which is also 12mm for a 12mm wheel spindle. If you haven't access to a lathe, you could use pillow block bearings, sort of bolted here and here, as long as they've got the same internal diameter for the bolts, 12mm, you're fine. If you want to make it wider, you can get 300mm M12 bolts, and that's the biggest you can get. But as I was making mine to fit for the gate, I've gone for the 250mm ones. This Sprocket Carrier here was also done on the lathe at a piece of, I think it's 6mm plate steel that was laser cut, and then turned on the lathe to accept the sprocket. If you haven't got access to a lathe again, you could just use an old 22mm Tomos sprocket, grind the teeth off, and then if you're using one off of a spoked wheel, it's got a very small internal diameter, so you could weld a nut into that, and that could then become your bearing carrier, and you can bolt any size sprocket to that then with a Tomos bolt pattern PCD. The actual swing arm's in two parts: a front section there and a rear section. This slides over the top of that, and there's two bolts either side in elongated holes, and a centre adjuster bolt with a captive nut, and this is what allows you to tension the chain. Once it's tensioned, you just do up the two outside bolts either side, and then lock this one up, and it's set. The actual shocks are mounted to the front part of the swing arm. You don't want it mounted to the rear section, because if you slide it backwards, you'll find that your shocks won't line up, so it has to be on the front one. That's Refrain Modifications. If you're making it wider, it doesn't require any, but if you're making it longer, you won't have to shorten the seat mounting post like this one has on it, because you can build it so it kind of, whatever goes on the back clears the standard frame. As far as the side panels are concerned, I've cut these ones down have to space, I think it is 25mm, about an inch, spaces either side welded to the new swing arm to give the chain clearance. On the stock swing arm, the front is kind of outside the swing arm. By the time it gets to the back, it's on the inside because it's going around the wheel. But on this, as you can see, it stays permanently inside the left hand kind of side of the swing arm, hence the spacers. I put grease nipples in mine just for longevity, really, because it's the sort of that bolt has a habit of seizing if it's not lubricated. And there we go. So as you can see, new stickers from YPV Spares. Also got a pattern speedo drive from them, which actually works really well. Side out access for the front electrics by mounting the cowl further forward rather than on the indicator mount. So if I need to change a bulb or get behind the clocks, just undo those two wing nuts, the whole lot comes off. Much easier access. So if you're mounting the later style cowl to the earlier upside down forks, I think that's the way to do it. It doesn't fit flush against the forks anymore, but it does allow for kind of alignment of the headlight bulb as well. So there we go, just got to rivet that on now, rivet the back on, the old checker plate, and then it's paperwork time. Change the wheel plan to 3-wheel, probably need an inspection, and then MOT, and should go use on the road. So hopefully there can be no issues there. So if you like what you see, thanks for looking, please subscribe.